And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning into a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this evening. We have a magnificent panel of sisters from all across our nation who are going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration. Assalamu alaikum, family.
Walaikum
Alaikum
salam,
salam,
sir.
sir.
Thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on the People's Podcast. And thank you to everyone who is watching on this amazing Friday night. The first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to introduce Sister Catina, and then she's going to introduce you all so you all can let us know how this weekend is. First of all, Sister Catina, assalamu alaikum again.
Walaikum salam, Brother Josh.
Thank you for putting together this wonderful event. And could you let us know what made you choose each sister while we get started?
Yes, sir. Well, if I could just briefly say, just as the ministry protocol, if you would, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah, Muhammad is the messenger. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam, ma'am.
What made me choose these panel of women? Well, I'll start with um I don't know what to call her because she told us what not to call her. So I'm gonna start with as it related to the program. But our person that brought the evening home, we'll say, Sister Regional Student Captain Maalikah Muhammad. She's actually the inspiration for the whole event, unbeknownst to me at the time. When I found out that she became clear, I was fascinated about that in and of itself, which is a process of eliminating what is called the reactive mind, which is just where all your pain and things are stored. We can get into that just a little bit later for understanding. But when I found out she reached that mark, I was like totally involved. And then when she and I had a chance to speak, and she told me her reason why, I fell in love. And in her reason why, can I say your reason why?
Of course.
Her reason why was because she wanted to gift that to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And that for me was just, it just did it. And so it planted a seed that would not germinate till some years later. I went to Houston for the musical ensemble. And when I complimented the regional minister about it, and he said, "Sister, this is exactly what the minister wants. He wants us to be cultured and refined and civilized and things like that." And so that was the water that watered the seed. You know, Brother Joshua, there are some plants that germinate very quickly, but the asparagus, I'm told from a farmer, is that it does not germinate quickly. In fact, it takes a couple of seasons for it to even sprout out. But once it begins to grow, they said it grows so fast, it sounds like popcorn in the fields.
Wow.
And so that's what happened as it related to the idea. So she was what sparked it. Why I chose we'll go with Sister Terri, we'll go to Indiana. Why I chose her is because one of the things that I found by being an auditor is that you really do have to care about the people. You really do have to have some sort of love. And it doesn't have to be a personal love. Certainly doesn't have to be a ooh wee baby love. I don't have to have known you all my life love. You just gotta have a love for the people that you are serving. Because when they sit in that chair, then they are your responsibility. And it is up to you and I to help them to help them. They're doing the work, we're helping them do the work, but to help them to alleviate the particular pain that is bothering them in that unit of time while you're sharing that space and time with them. And so when I think about someone who just shows love, I thought about Sister Terri. Like it was never another doubt. When the theme came to mind on that, and it was a multi-themed event. The main thing was Dianetics, a gift from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to a chosen nation. And then the sub themes that Sister Terri dealt with was love and sanity, the mental health of our families and our nation. And so when you think about love, I think about her. When I think about sanity, I think about anybody that can handle me. And she happens to be one of them. So that's essentially why I chose her and her passion for mental health and the things that she does in our nation and in our city. Um, why I chose magnificent. And she was trying to, if I can say this early in the show, she was trying to wiggle on out of it and all that. I was like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this banquet and all that. She was on board from the jump. She was like, oh, okay, and tell me more. She's auditing me about the idea. And I'm telling her more about it. And I was like, yeah, and then I want to invite Sis to Malika and all of that. And I want her to be the keynote speaker. She's like, oh, okay. And yeah, I want you to perform. And all of a sudden it got quiet. And I was like, I'm like, hello, caller. If it was one of those old phones, I'd have sworn she hung up on me. But you can still see the numbers going. And so, but I chose her because one, her passion and her leadership, being the regional auditing coordinator, and her desire for all of the auditors to do well and to for us to rotate at the same rate of speed as the other planets um, in Chicago, and how the national grabbing hold to the ideas that the national auditing directorate desires for us in the audit. Of course, her desire is state based on the desire of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So I chose her because I knew that she would be that force to show that, hey, not only did I use the technology, and yes, I had this skill and this talent prior to, but it is, I have it now. Look at it now and look at it through, now that I've had, some auditing, and then I am leading the charge as the premier auditor, if you will, in our region. So that's the reason why I chose them.
Thank you.
All praise is due to a lot. Beautiful. And everybody showing you all love. Walaikum salam, Sister Miriam, Sister Naima, and Sister Naja. Thank you very much. And shout out to our YouTube family as well. This previous weekend, I was going to be there, but Eli's the best knower, and the hurricane came and canceled my ticket. It was a whole thing, but I was looking forward to interviewing you all in person. But I felt the spirit through the pictures, through the video, so I felt like I was there, even though I wasn't there physically. Yes, and we want to start with you, Sister Student Captain Maalikah, on a recap of the event. How was the spirit being there in person?
Absolutely amazing. Actually, it was beautiful. Sister Catina nailed it when she said that she knows what I'm not. I didn't, with no intention of being the guest of honor. Certainly told us, say, don't ever call me the keynote speaker again. No. So, I mean, I didn't really have an idea. I never really had any idea that I was the inspiration. I'm very humbled and honored every time I hear her say that, that I was the inspiration behind the weekend. I didn't even grasp it. Even when they gave me an award, I was sitting there wondering, why am I getting an award? It's beautiful, and my husband loved it, and I have it sitting prominently, in my house, but I didn't really think that, it was anything that I had done to be deserving of it, because all I did was, just take what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave us and went on a personal journey. And my desire was just to gift him with a laborer who could serve without the restraint of a reactive mind. So to be honored for that was just beyond, any comprehension that I had. So it was just beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. The spirit was good. The believers were excited. It's always good to see our family from the North. Sister Terri, is always an honor to be in her presence. Sister Catina, Sister Latonia did an amazing job in the Southwest region. Showed up and showed out in fashion. So it was beautiful. It was an absolutely beautiful weekend. And I felt, really inspired, motivated, that Sister Catina, was, holding the mantle and was really just taking charge and determined to continue with what, we have been charged with the responsibility of doing as auditors. That she, through our regional auditor coordinator, through our national auditor coordinator, are trying and working hard to fulfill the desires of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I'm always excited about doing, what it is that he wants. So it was great. It was absolutely great.
All praise to Allah. Beautiful. And we're coming to the rest of our panelists. Thank you very much for watching. Brother Jeffrey sends the greetings. Sister Attorney Sadia Kareem says, Assalamu alaikum, alaikum salam.
Wa alaikum salam.
Muhammad, alaikum salam, ma'am, to you as well. All right, for you, Sister Terri, how was this weekend? Can you let us know, for those of us who weren't able to physically be there, but we felt the energy from the pictures, how was the event?
Like student Sister Capt Maalikah said, the energy was high. It was, I really can't put it into words. From the start, the way that it started, I don't know what the name of it. There was a game that was being played, and it set the tone and the high energy for the whole event. It felt like really like you were at a righteous family reunion. It felt like the love was just, it was in the air. And it allowed us to bond with each other. I oftentimes like to talk about letting, sharing vulnerabilities. And when you feel like you're in a safe space, you can do that. And that's what that evening provided for all of those that attended. It lets us know that it is okay for us to talk about the things that bother us, but we can heal one another. We can be there for one another. We can use this tool that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has given to us, and we can extend it to our family and beyond, a part of the resurrection. So with that, it just gave me great joy. I felt very comfortable, being with my family. So I just, Sister Catina, it was beautiful.
Praise be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful. And people are saying, praise be to Allah in the comments. Thank you, Brother William. Thank you, everyone who's watching. This is Brother Student Captain Stephen. Assalamu alaikum. My wife, Sister Sharonda Muhammad, and is watching and sends the love and alaikum salam to you all, family, as well. Shout out to Houston. They always, my always showing love. Yes, I wanted to go to you, Latonia. This is our first time meeting, so it's an honor to meet you as well. Yes, ma'am. How was the event? And let us know from an auditing standpoint, the tone scale. What was the tone scale like there?
Wow. Let's start in the name of Allah. I'm trying to return to the moment as an auditor, trying to return, because that moment for me was breathtaking, if you will. Because when you're working on a project, Sister Catina is amazing. Let me start with that. Sister Catina is an amazing auditor coordinator. She represents very well. She's in the ministry class, and she does care. And she took the time, to put the care and love that was necessary to make this event happen. She did not let up. I'm talking every day, pound for pound. She was consistent until this happened. Praise be to Allah. And I love it because I personally love seeing greatness in our people, love seeing greatness in women and in our brothers. It's just amazing to see. So that moment was so breathtaking because I actually saw the believers in a different light. When you're working together, it's very intimate. And to see the fruit of your labor, brother, our student regional minister, Brother Abdul Halim, oh my God, he came. It's like meeting him for the very first time. Sister Maalikah, Sister Terri, our student regional captain Stephen, he's in the process. Him and his wife. We know marriage is half of our faith, and they were sharing their journey. It was a pleasure moment for me because I'm married as well, and every testimony is an inspiration for me to do better. So I walked away with so many good takeaways that I could implement in my own life. But I think that all the believers were beautiful. The love was in the space. We had a good time. We danced. Sister Maalikah, she wasn't keynote, but she was point on sharing her story. And it was amazing. The conversation is still going today about what happened in that moment. So I just want to share that.
Beautiful. All praises due to Allah. And thank you very much, everyone. So many comments, fire emojis, hands, finger snapping. Everybody bear witness to all of this great things. Now, I saw when the student captain commented, as well as seeing other brothers who are watching. What can we do? We'll start with you. I'm gonna say T Maalikah, but sister captain, student captain Maalikah. What can we do to help encourage the brothers and the men as well? Because I know for me personally, what Dianetics has done, life repair, uh, self-analysis, so many courses, how to study, everything that I was, since I was blessed to be the Honorable Missile Far kind of Tampa, and every leading up to just seeing what it auditing did for him, what it did for me, to the brothers on the drill team, the brothers who've been in my life, my father, just knowing what it's done to men. But I know that we as men sometimes need some encouraging words from my sister. So what can we do? We'll start with you, sister student captain Maalikah, about helping to encourage the brothers and the young men to get audited as well.
I think that what we can do is what we should always do, you know, as women who are their helpmeets and their supporters, is to just encourage, you know, not try to browbeat or demand or insist that the brothers get audited, but just try to encourage and be a good example of what auditing can do. You know, a lot of times we will talk about, you know, how high we are, or how much auditing we've had, should I say, but then we come back and act that reactive mind is in full effect, and the husband doesn't see the effect of what the auditing is doing for you. So I think that what we can do is be a good example of that. The student auditor coordinators, which I'm not anymore, but I think that, you know, to have events consistently and making, as Sister Terri said, making sure, you know, that the auditor's code is in effect and that they have a safe space to share and be vulnerable, I think is important. And I also think that what Brother Student Regional Captain Stephen did by standing up and sharing his story and, you know, being very vulnerable to show, you know, the benefit of what Dianetics did for him is certainly encouraging to, you know, to any man to see that he can be vulnerable that way. He can accept what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave us as a tool, and that they can see the result of it in him directly and be able to relate to just real life stories and situations that they can, you know, that they can benefit from by using the technology. So again, I just think being an example of, as women, and not browbeating and demanding or insisting, but just gently putting it out there, being a gentle reminder, being a support, and being an example of how the technology can benefit us. It would be what I would suggest. And that's what our job is, you know, as the woman and the helpmeet and the supporter, you know, of our men, to do that. So that's how I think that we could start.
Beautiful. All praise be to Allah. And to you, Sister Catina, the same question, ma'am, about inspiring the brothers and the men and, you know, in the community and our families, but then the community as well.
I definitely have to agree with what Sister Student Captain Maalikah said. And for me, as auditor coordinator in my city, one of the things that I do is build a rapport, a righteous rapport, right? So within our guidelines, but you know, it really is, it takes an act of courage to look at yourself. And so sometimes we in our own heads are thinking so bad about ourselves that we shy away from things like that. And so I think being able to inspire, being able to encourage, being able to, you know, break the ice, if you will, and just I'm really, really big on validating, you know, any little thing somebody can do. Could nobody pick that piece of paper up? Where they pick that paper up, right? Because most of our problems, we've been grossly invalidated to such a degree that, you know, when we reach for something, then we pull back. And so that's I definitely agree with her, and I would just something that I have it's almost a natural tendency to do is to encourage and to validate, and again, make them to know that it's safe. We do an auditing event in our city every month, and in that we make praise be to Allah. We do our best to make it a safe environment, to make it, to bring the tone level up and let people know you are welcome here. I ain't telling nobody where I'm if they got their children, I don't care if they got to go home and, bring somebody back with them,
Yeah.
they ain't ate, we gonna feed you, because I want them to reap the benefits. They say that you gotta want for the brotherhood or the sisterhood, but you want for yourself. And so that's how you've passed from death into life. And I'm trying to pass there because I know what the technology has done and is doing for me. And I want that for the believers and for the men. Because when you can strengthen up that man, and he can go on and face this enemy and run him on off the planet. The man got a job to do.
Yes, ma'am.
We're trying to get him onto a place where he can do that job. So
Wonderful. All praise is due to Allah. And for you, Sis Terri, the same question, ma'am. How can we continue to encourage the men in our families, but humanity, society as well, the community, the ummah? For you, ma'am.
Yeah, it's something you said, the ummah, the community, because that's what we have to know, that the old saying, it takes a village and it takes a community, and that's what we have to get to, community, and not thinking that we have to isolate ourselves or be alone or feel alone, and I have to deal with these internal struggles that I'm dealing with and I can't tell anyone. And that's part of sharing our vulnerabilities. I find when working with, people who are highly suicidal or depressed, when I share my story, or, I can't expect someone to tell me everything about them, and I haven't opened up to about myself. So when I open up about myself and I share some vulnerabilities, they are open to sharing more. And so, the saying, people don't care how much you know until they don't care how much you know until you show how much you care. So we have to show that we care, and it comes from a place of love. And so, I have brothers, and I thank a lot that my husband allows me to do this because he understands. When I say brothers, I don't mean just in the Nation of Islam, but we have young brothers that reach out to me, and they would want to share something with a male, but they don't feel comfortable with doing that because they feel like they will be judged. Oh, you a man, why are you feeling like this?
Right.
But, the men have to encourage the men, and the brothers that have been audited and have received benefits from that, then the brothers have to share that with the brotherhood and outside of the brotherhood, outside of the nation. And so that men can have a safe place where they can talk to one another and feel the love from their own brothers. But if they feel like they're going to be, placed outside of the brotherhood, if I discuss, my feelings, because you might look like, oh, you're soft or you're sensitive, then that's something that we need to fix, because that's not how the God is. The God is very caring and very loving. He's very beneficent. He's very merciful. And so that's how we have to learn to be that for one another. And another thing is, like, we may judge based off of our own perception and what we've went through in life. So you're looking through a lens of what you went through, but when you put the lenses on of someone else and what they went through, they may have went through some extremely difficult trials and trauma. And when you put yourself in that person's shoes, it allows us to have sympathy and empathy. So I encourage the men to be more like God in that way. It's not just emphasizes on strength and muscles and I'm a God. But show the other side of God, the compassionate side of God.
Right. Show all of God's emotions, huh?
Right.
Yes. Beautiful. All praise due to Allah. Excellent. And I just wanted to bear witness to that same point. Thank you, Brother David Johnson Muhammad. Says praise be to Allah. Thank you, sir, and all the work that you do representing and auditing as well, you and your wife and family. I had the same issue in Atlanta, starting with myself. When I would go to the org, the first thing I would tell them, may Allah be pleased with Brother Robin, who would be the coordinator in Atlanta. And I would say, Brother Robin, coming up there like 2 weeks, can't have a male auditor. Can we try to get somebody, or somebody not a male auditor from the FOY? Can we try to find somebody? He was like, brother, all these brothers up here, and I was like, man, I don't know, man. You know, talk about I'm in love, or I had a heartbreak in high school, and you still mad about it. And then he was like, brother, he was the first. Him and another brother, they were the first FOY who were like, oh, bro, you don't got to go get somebody else. I'm gonna be a brother. I'm not gonna judge you. I can help you to have a FOY auditor. That was something that was like, I never thought I would be able to say, 6th grade, this happened. In 9th grade, this happened. In 10th, but that helped clear me, it helped free me of a lot of engrams and pain, was to have an FOY brother who was like, I know you a killer. I know you can fight, you can drill, all that, but we good right here. So he was one of the first brother who helped me get over that. I was like, I can't. I was like, so then after him, I went to the drill team, went to the brothers. I was like, hey, everybody meet me at the org. Come on, let's go. You know what I'm saying? This is a safe space, and that helped free a lot of people to know that you can. It's anything you say you can do. It's not like you will be used against you. It's not an interrogation. Come right here. This is throw it away. And I see the benefit in my life, but I see the benefit in Black men and men around the world with auditing. I wanted to and thank you, everybody saying bear witness, beautiful, praise be to Allah. Thank you, Sister. Thank you, brother student Captain Stephen. I wanted to ask you, Sister Latonia, how do you help encourage the brothers in your personal life and your family, and then the men in the community as well?
Yes, sir. First, I would like to say that by being an example, by submitting to the process myself, because the messenger of Allah said, you can't teach something that you're not practicing. You will be considered a liar, right? So humbling myself and going through the process. And I think Sister Terri mentioned about Sister Catina mentioned about courage. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, it takes courage to face yourself. And every day we wake up, we see the good, the bad, the indifferent, but it takes courage to really handle the good, the bad, and the indifferent, in a world like this. And for me, it's just striving to be an example. And like Sister Maalikah said, a safe space and encouragement, because it's so many different ideologies on the planet about therapy, about what works, relationships, how to live your life, this, that, and the third. But we know that these are the days of Allah, and the one that was appointed to us is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And we know that the Prophet said that, we have to be in search for knowledge. Once you go out and search for knowledge, you never return. But the messenger said, the Most Honorable Muhammad said, the message to the Black man, that we have to get the right knowledge. We have to get the knowledge that's going to help us. So the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave us Dynetics because he knows that is going to help us. So I think that just being the example, encouraging, and with that, I think that the self-determination is really important, because we have to determine that we want to be better. We have to determine that we're going to follow the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan, because he has never misled us. So I think that just encouraging and being the example. Yes, sir.
Beautiful. All praise to Allah. Thank you all very much. People are showing love all around the world. We have a brief 60-second commercial break for all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast. We are grateful for every like, share, subscription, as well as every anonymous Cash App. Shout out to our YouTube family, Brother Kente, Musaz, Brother Duke, Sister Auntie, Sister Hope, everyone who continues to show love on YouTube as well. We're coming right back to our esteemed panelists and guests. One second. Speaking of that, Sister Naima, Stay On Point Dance Academy. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country. Sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me children's book and coloring book. My father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ. My two books, Cleopatra, which is a children's book, and No Father, No Excuse, both of which are available on Amazon. Wonderful. And we have a new sponsor, S Enterprise Barber and Beauty Products. It is a plant-based brush and a wave brush for all of the people with hair, plant-based. Kosherwave.com, 770-997-6000. Brother Jeffrey Circe Muhammad, Sister Stephanie Muhammad, Thank you very much for your sponsorship. Let's make sure we all support them. S Enterprise. Get your kosherwave.com 770-997-6000. Right back to our guest. All right. I wanted to ask, well, Sister Maalikah seems to have stepped away for a moment. All right, we'll go with you, Sister Terri. I wanted to ask you, ma'am, how important is it when you spoke about being the term that a lot of people say in your feelings, right? To be like, to say I opposite sex, I love, and how important is mental health in properly communicating to the opposite sex?
And properly communicating to the opposite sex about what you're feeling.
Yes, ma'am.
That is very important, very important, especially in a relationship. 90% of the problems that are in relationship, male, female, is due to the poor or lack of communication. So teaches the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So expressing emotions and how we're feeling is important. And of course, feelings are not always facts.
Right.
Those feelings come from somewhere. And whenever we can discuss our feelings in a dignified and a rational way without the emotions of anger, then it will allow us to properly hear one another. And then we can solve problems that way. So being civilized and you know, the longer you're married and we attempt this proper communication, it becomes like second nature. And you can really understand your mate. You can see where they're coming from because it's a full communication process. You're fully explaining why you feel the way that you feel. And then we have to be sensitive to our mates when they share their feelings to us. So yeah, 90% of the problems is in communication. It's very important to be able to express ourselves. And we need the brothers to be able to express themselves.
Yes.
We don't want to bury that. You know, we hold all of these things in, and it has a plethora of negative effects, including our mental and our physical health. So we want the men to know that it is okay to express yourself.
Excellent. All praise due to Allah. And for you, Sister Student Captain Maalikah, can you let us know how important that is from being married, like Sister Terri, for years? How important is Dianetics, mental health therapy to properly communicating with your spouse?
No, I mean, I agree with Sister Terri 100%. I mean, you know, it is very important. I think that as one who has, you know, achieved that particular state of living now without a reactive mind, that would suggest that there are no emotions, that you don't have any emotions. But I would say that I liken it to rising above emotion into the thinking of God. It's not that I don't have emotions or that emotions are not necessary. You have emotions, but trying to express and walk or deal with the appropriate emotion is what is important. So yes, you will have emotions, you will deal with different things based on whatever the circumstance is. The idea is to not have mis-emotions with your spouse. So the appropriate emotion is important. You know, imagine a relationship with no emotions.
Right.
You know, that's not something that doesn't fare well in a short or long marriage. So
No.
emotions are important in every relationship for sure. But the idea is to be able to apply the appropriate one at the appropriate time to rise above any irrational action and into the thinking of God. I think that's what our goal is, as we've been taught, is rising above emotions into the thinking of God, but not that you don't have any, or that you don't use any in your dealings with your spouse, or for me, with the sisters, or anybody that I'm to interact with. Absolutely, emotions are important.
Praise be to Allah. Excellent. For you, Sister Latonia, ma'am, you spoke of your husband earlier. How important has been auditing and therapy been for you with expressing yourself with him?
Oh, wow. It's invaluable because, you know, marriage is half of the faith. I'm trying to find the right words here. Marriage is half of the faith, but you know, the first half is self-improvement. So submitting to the therapy has to be a self-improvement process. And in the self-improvement, it helps self to look at self to see what happened, in my life that causes me to be other than myself, to cause anger, to hang out in that anger area when someone is expressing themselves to me, or vice versa. So dynamics is really important because it helps us to get to the root of why we could be stuck in certain emotions. We had an experience when we were 3, like with men. I would say with men, because I've seen it, I've witnessed it in my own family, where little boys are told, to shut up and sit down somewhere. You're not supposed to cry, and that kind of thing, and that suppresses. So as a young man grows up and get married into a relationship, those things come up. You could shut up and be quiet, when problems arise, or you could just be hard. Women can too, sisters too, can be hard, and not be able to express the emotions because of certain thoughts that have been installed. So dynamics helps us to stay present. And like Sister Student Capt Maalikah said, it helps you to tap into the right emotion, because it's okay. Anger is a natural emotion, but anger is not the first one. It starts really small, like a little worm. You get agitated, then you get frustrated when it's not handled, and then the next thing you in anger and you stuck. So dynamics helps to handle these things, and to help us to find the right emotion for communication in marriage. And that is, like Sister Terri was saying, like, so important, because without communication you have nothing. So that's what I think.
All praises for our beautiful. I just wanted to bear witness to all of these great points and be coming right to you, Sister Catina. Thank you, Sister Naira. She says, that's right. The abilities of a clear and everyone is bearing witness. Our YouTube family is phenomenal. Can't wait to upload this to YouTube as well. I was saying, having both parents learning, having both of my parents trying to figure out how with my father, be tough, Josh. My mother saying it's okay to show feelings, and then becoming an adult and seeing how under certain circumstances, man, don't break. You got it, Josh. You know what I'm saying? But there's certain circumstances it's easier for me to be the tough that guy than it ever is to be, all right, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to yell. So dynamics has been extremely helpful for me personally, because I'm just like, no. So I had to learn how to process listening to Rod Wave, more Drake, just being more people were like, okay, let me throw on some more feminine music or something, because I'm just like, nah, it ain't happening today. But that's unhealthy to go to war every single day. Every time I go outside, I cannot be in fight mode. So Dynamics has helped me learn how to breathe, rise above emotions, especially in the workplace, campus. Just be like, it's okay. Don't go straight to that way, learn, So I thank you all for being examples of, the proper way to, process emotion and rise above emotion into thinking of God, all the study guys. Praise be to Allah. For you, Sister Catina, I wanted to ask you, you spoke earlier about, you used the word sanity, and I wanted to come back to you about sanity. How important is society right now? So we see, things going abroad, foreign, domestic, things in the community. Every time you get on social media, every time you get online, it's a lot going on in our time period. There's a lot going on. I'm talking about politically, spiritually. Man, it's just a lot going on. A lot of images being thrown at us. How important is our sanity?
Wow. So with everything that you listed in this, that's actually what we're looking at, is insanity in some greater or lesser degree. Insanity and a disconnect from God, which a disconnect from God is an insanity. So, but we have to, anytime anyone on planet Earth, and we'll start with us, because we have lived the most, but anytime anyone is suppressed, oppressed, depressed, it throws off the mental balance. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, injustice breeds insanity. Okay, so imagine, we can see the injustice on a large scale. Imagine injustice or perceived injustice in our personal lives, and what that does to tilt the balance of the mind. And once that balance is tilted, then so is every other calculation as it relates, or to whatever degree that is tilted. So something has happened to restore the balance to the mind so that it can function properly. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the brain is made to think properly, and that it is made to get the right answer every time based on the information that it has. Well, we if there is an imbalance in the processing of information or the perceiving of information or data, then it will alter the answer, and then the answer would not be the rational answer for that situation. And so, in order for us to come up out of the condition that we're in, we're going to need some sanity. It is my firm belief that as parents, as wives, spouses, as anybody with a relationship with anybody, we the reason why, or one of the reasons why we are unable to love as we should is because of that mental imbalance. And we are just in a raw state of survival, and we get around to love. But we'll say it, we'll talk about it, but you really can't. You asked Sister Latonia about the tone scale earlier, but you really can't do that in those lower emotions. As Sister Capt Maalikah said, is that she looks at it as the ability to rise above emotion. You that's exactly what happens when you are ascending or going up the tone scale. Is you're being pulled out of the emotion to where you can experience the emotion, but you are not in effect of the emotion. So even if you need to reach over and get a little anger, or something happens and you need to express some sadness or something, there's a loss or something like that, then fine. But you're not caught in the emotion, and then every thought that you have comes up out of those lower emotions, which tend again to be a miscalculation. So it is crucial to our survival, crucial to our relationships, that we restore the sanity and the mental balance and wellness to our minds, so that the spirit can then properly communicate to us what it needs and wants us to do.
Beautiful. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Teacher,
yeah.
Sis Catina. And we're coming to Terry and to our other esteemed panelists. There's I don't know if everybody has children or nieces, nephews, grandchildren, but there's a animated movie that just had a sequel that's on Hulu now called Inside Out 2.
Yes.
And as I was watching this with my niece and nephew, it deals with the emotions, and now each emotion is anger and happiness and sadness and all these different personalities. And I was looking, it's a children's movie, but as an adult, I'm still like, now you gotta chill, Josh. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta work on that. You gotta work when this one's about to come out. You gotta be balanced with each face and each emotion. Sister Terry, how important is sanity for us moving forward?
Oh, well, Sister Catina spoke on that so well.
Yes.
But I did want to share some words from our beloved minister, and that I believe we can tie in most definitely. It comes from the study guide 4. He says, Black people are not balanced, nor is humanity in general. Allah God created us with a natural inclination towards Him. That inclination causes us to move in His direction from the very beginning of life to the end. But the journey to Allah God has been aborted because of falsehood and the acceptance of falsehood. He goes on to talk about how falsehood produces a spiritual and chemical imbalance of the brain. So adding to what Sister Catina has beautifully already said, we just want to lift up. I think we underestimate what falsehood does. Of course, we could tie that into the emotions of how we, may feel about oneself or what someone, all of these are false ideas. But in particular, the falsehood that we are bombarded with on a daily basis through the music, through TV, through social media, it absolutely has a negative effect on the mind. And if I recall, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that he compared the wood and how lies affect the brain. It's like a grain, going against the grain of wood. That is how damaging falsehood and lies are. And in this time we live in, one of the things that was, we lifted up the scripture in Timothy at the banquet, at the event on Saturday. But that comes from the scripture, the sound mind, that whole book of Timothy. But in there, Paul, the apostle Paul, is talking and writing to Timothy, and he says to beware about the people no longer following sound doctrine. That is critical in the hour. It is critical for our nation. And in fact, that was one of the last conversations that I personally had with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and the importance of sound doctrine. And we had a personal conversation. I won't go into all of it, but one of the things that he said is that he can gauge, and this is paraphrasing, this lets him know that his time is ending near as far as the departure, because of us, the believers, partaking into falsehood, things that he has not given us, or that are not a part of the sound doctrine that was given to us by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. So if we want to have a sane mind, we must absolutely shun falsehood. And the Holy Quran teaches us, we hurl truth. We hurl truth at falsehood.
That's right.
At its brain. So we absolutely cannot permit falsehood to enter into the mind.
Oh, praise be to Allah. Beautiful teaching. And so many people showing you all love. Thank you, everyone who each comment. Thank you, Brother Student Captain Stephen. Now he said now is absolutely excellent. People bear witness for you, Sister Student Captain Maalikah. I was saying I keep up with the news from where I'm from in Chicago, is in Naperville. And long story short, I saw the clip the other day. A man and a woman unalived another family outside of Chicago. Then went to another state. It was on a month. It took months for somebody to do a wellness check at that home. Then when they traced everybody back, they did the research. They saw them at Walmart laughing, smiling, like they had never done nothing. But there was like a 25-day manhunt, and I was like, this is kind of insane. And it kind of shows like, this is how people live. Even though they did not, like it was a regular, like when you saw the pictures and the video, it was like, did y'all just do what I think y'all did? Because people in the society right now need sanity. So I wanted to ask you, ma'am, what can we do better, and how important is sanity to us in our personal lives, but as society as well?
No, I think Sister Catina and Sister Terri certainly did address, how important it is. I think that we have a responsibility to, as Sister Terri said, not to allow false doctrine to incorporate or get involved in what we know to be true and correct. We have to protect ourselves, from social media. Social media should be used for what it's designed for, but it can bombard you. And we know that we're in a world where evil is made fair seeming. So in everything they do, in all of their operations, that is going to be the goal, to make evil fair seeming. So we have to protect ourselves, our family, our community from the foolishness and the insanity of the world, because we know that people have been affected by all kinds of things. COVID, vaccine, of course, I believe exacerbated the insanity. I don't have any statistics, but I would certainly bank all that I have on it, that it exacerbated the insanity that's already there. But we got a wicked enemy, among us. So everything, from the food to social media, to music, to everything is attacking our livelihood and our sanity. So we have to inoculate ourselves physically, mentally, emotionally, with everything that we have to protect us from those falsehoods and from that insanity affecting us. So I think, absolutely sanity is important, because, you see movies where crazy things like that happen, and people, mimic movies and make it real life, or perhaps those movies are mimicking real life. Either way, you have all kind of insanity displayed before us, and people are doing all types of things, and we're being dumbed down, and we're being desensitized to this evil and this madness that's going on. So you can, you can see this kind of thing and it has no effect on you because it's just a world that we live in. So as believers, we have to hold fast to that which we know is true.
That's right.
The teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is given to us by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We have to protect ourselves. We have to protect our families and protect our community because that's what we have. That's what we have to fight against this insanity and do those things that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has given us. Of course, be in our teachings, be in our study, be in the Holy Quran, be in what we have.
Yes.
To think additionally, engage ourselves of the tool and the technology that we have to relieve us of some of these things that we already have and things that are bombarding us every day.
Yeah.
Sanity is important. I mean, insanity is to keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. But if we want our people to rise, we want the true resurrection, we got to do something different and expect a different result.
That's right.
Sanity is
All
absolutely.
praises. You teaching, Sister Capt, you teaching. Brother Daniel E says, that's right, we have to guard our minds and hearts. Thank you, bringing actual facts. Praise be to Allah. Walaikum salam, Brother Daniel E. Shout out to our YouTube family, our Facebook family, Twitter, Instagram, everyone who is showing love. Shout out to TikTok as well. I wanted to ask you, so Latonia, is it Latonia or Latonia?
Latanya.
Latanya. Okay, just make sure I'm pronouncing it correct. Yes,
that's
ma'am.
okay. Sis Catina say Latanya.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Okay, I was making sure. She said that. I was like, I'm saying it wrong. All right.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Magnificent too, Josh.
Yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah. All right, I wanted to ask you, what made you want to become an auditor coordinator for the Houston and stuff? Like, what made you want to get into that at the time?
Oh, that's beautiful. My whole life, I wanted to understand how does the mind work. That has been my quest in life. Because I've noticed as a child how certain family members will be stuck in an emotion. Like one person is angry all the time. And I'm like, why is this person so angry? And then another person I felt was like mean. Like, why is this one mean and this one happy? So it's like different emotions for different people, kind of like the little movie that you talked about, because I watched both of them. And I like them. I think that I'm joy, but
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Not all the time though, but I want to be joy all the time. But just with a little balance. So psychology, the study of the mind, has really been important to me because I always wanted to know why people got stuck in certain emotions. And also I wanted to understand time. Because when we're younger, we're watching TV, you see the Flintstones, you see the Jetsons, you see all the Smurfs, it's like different time periods, the Ice Age, and it's like, where's all this stuff going? Is it happening at one time? What's happening? So I wanted to understand time. So when I joined the Nation of Islam, I heard the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the theology of time, and that grabbed my attention. And then the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave us Dianetics. And when I engaged in Dianetics, I knew this is what I was looking for because it answered questions pound for pound. I didn't have to answer the question as I was reading the questions are being answered. Sometimes it's hard to formulate a question. When you have something deeply burning on the inside, you just really don't know how to put it in words. But that book, Dianetics, it answered every question of the mind that I had. So it satisfied my quest. And with that, I am obligated as a Muslim. When I learn something, I have to teach it. So, and being the auditor coordinator, it's really an honor and a privilege to actually help others because, the Quran says, all affairs belong to Allah and only Allah changes the condition of the heart. But with Dianetics, He allows us, with His permission and His guidance with the, through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to go into the hearts of men, to go into the hearts of women and help them to change the condition only by Allah's permission. But you have to have humility. You have to have, the character, the auditor's code, and love for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to follow his instructions to stay on point, to make sure that we're doing it right. So that's what I have.
Beautiful. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay, now, Latonia, I know Sister Maalikah said you were drilling. Are you going to be a DI going to the ministry? Because you got the fire spirit. I don't know if you're ready to.
Let me start off. Yes, sir. I am on the MGT drill team.
Okay.
Praise be to Allah. Also,
good.
I am a poet. I'm a poet by talent. I think that's what it is.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Sir.
Perfect.
I'm a poet by talent.
I knew it was
And I
some
did
rapping.
perform at the banquet.
Oh, you did?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to everybody with the spoken word. Shout out to all
Yes,
the
sir. I
spoken word.
performed the poem Greatness, and it accompanies Dynetics because you know greatness is a process like Dynetics. Anything in life, us being Muslims, it's a process. We don't wake up one day and we're perfect. It's a day-to-day process of becoming great. And you know that every day brings a different challenge, you know, a different set of circumstances, because Allah says that He's going to give us problems to work out because we can handle it. We just got to have the right information. And the Honorable Ms. Lewis Farrakhan always guides us to the right information. And with that being said, you know, I did greatness because we are great. And sometimes we can't see our greatness because of these mental distractions. And once we arrest those things, you know, we are gods. We are the nation of Islam. That's it.
Beautiful. Go ahead. Yes, ma'am. All right, greatness. Now, do you want to give us a piece of greatness while you're at it? Are you ready?
I sure will.
Okay,
Are
come
you
on
ready?
with it then. Yes, ma'am. We ready. Come on with
Yes,
it then.
sir. Let's start. The question is asked, what is the matter with you if you hope not for greatness from Allah? Greatness. Every soul yearns for greatness. When a man has not found his purpose in life, he lays awake at night restless. The mind begins to wander, search the whole universe, return to the conscious with one question: what is my purpose that renders him speechless? He begins to pray his prayers with the utmost of sincerity to the God over and over and over again until he becomes breathless. In the process, developing patience, but never faithless, because greatness is not an acquired skill. It is the power that is unleashed in a man with a determined idea. It is the exercise of the gods to build the will. It's an internal resolution, a personal revolution. This is far beyond an illusion. A man that can envision himself in his mind, developing stage after stage after stage until he reaches ultimate perfection without mental confusion. This is the greatest of all realities. It far supersedes any man's theory about evolutions. So we'll stop right there.
Is that what we do?
Greatness, greatness. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, Sis. Yes, ma'am. I'm just telling you, I'm an actor.
Yes.
I knew it was something. I knew you was performing. I could tell when you speak. I was like, oh yeah, she performs. All right, praise the Lord. Thank you. Greatness. We all need that. Sister Attorney Sadia Kareem says, okay, we in tune to the Attorney Sadia Kareem. Brother Abdul Alim Muhammad says he's showing love to the sisters. Thank you very much. And Sister Attorney Sadia Kareem says, chills. Wonderful. Thank you very much. I wanted to ask you, we have one more question for each guest. Also, Sister Attorney Sadia Kareem, we got to get you back. I got so much stuff going on in society dealing with law that I need your opinion on so much stuff dealing with that. And then people are texting me as well as calling me saying, thank you very much. That's a perfect clip too. Absolutely. And wonderful. Praise be to Allah. I wanted to ask you, thank you, Sister Dejan, and everyone else who was watching. I wanted to ask you, Sister Terri, every night I'm working, school and daytime, working night, almost finished. Praise be to Allah. But one of the things I do is my number one fan is, her name is Sharifa Muhammad. So I've learned through the tool of Dynetics and auditing how calling back pleasure moments and remembering so I can feel, hear, see, and be present. It's like I can hear my mom anytime I want to, just by learning how to tap into pleasure moments by the grace of God. Shout out to Dynetics, learning all of these tools.
Yes.
I wanted to know for you, ma'am, how important, Sister Terri, is pleasure moments to individuals, but to society and the community as well, ma'am?
Oh, that's a beautiful question.
Yes.
You know, we have to be able to, you know, we are taught to pursue happiness from the Supreme Wisdom lessons. And happiness truly is an inside job.
Yes.
And it takes work. We have to do inner work. And it's opposite of what this world teaches. This world teaches that you can get happiness on the outside by having things. And that's not how we secure true happiness. So it's really the simple things in life, really.
Yes.
We go back to how we were created. When we go back to how we used to live, it was going out in nature and finding it, looking at beauty. But now we want to be on social media, you know, just locked in, and we're wondering why we're sad or we don't have any fulfillment in life. But we have to get out into the world and look at Allah's beautiful creation and these these simple things is really, it shows gratitude to Allah. You know, it shows, we were dealing with some of the verses that a lot of the messengers and prophets suffered from sadness and depression.
Yes.
And there was many of them: Noah, Jeremiah,
ma'am.
Elijah,
Yes, ma'am.
Abraham. But dealing with Abraham, one thing that Allah told Abraham, he told him to, he said if he was to count all of the grains of sand,
Mm.
he could still, you can still find gratitude in that. If you were to, you could still
Wow.
find all the
Yes.
blessings in each grain of sand. He
Yes.
told him to look out and count the stars. So he was showing Abraham to create a gratitude list, and he was also doing what we call a location assist, which is something that allows us to, and in other forms of therapy, they give it different names, but using our senses and then finding pleasure moments, things to be happy about, allows us to get out of our own mind. So we have to go back to the simplicity, to the simple things in life that made us happy, and stop using the template that our enemy has given us that makes us artificial. We're not artificial people.
Yes.
So running pleasure moments absolutely does a lot for mental health and for the mind and body.
Right.
All praises to Allah. Y'all teaching beautiful.
Praise be to
Thank you,
Allah.
Brother David Johnson Muhammad. Thank you, Brother Jeffrey. Thank you very much, Sister Auntie Iris, for always showing love. Pleasure moments, lots to be said on that. Wonderful. For you, Sister Student Captain Maalikah. We spoke on our interviews. Everybody go back and watch about how I want to visit all 50 states. That's something that inshallah will be done. You know what I'm saying? Very soon. I want to visit. That brings me pleasure. Pleasure moments, inshallah. So for you, how important are pleasure moments in your life, ma'am?
I think they're very important. You know, I spoke on Saturday and I talked about how when I was initially introduced to the technology on such a low tone that I could not even identify a pleasure moment initially. Couldn't identify. But I think that Sister Terri said something so important that, you know, when you're able to contact those pleasure moments and get outside of your head, you know, it really, for me, I was jotting down gratitude, as she said, gratitude. It allows me to look at the very little things that, you know, that happen that make me into who and what I am. So I believe that pleasure moments are so important because, you know, it is a form of gratitude. You don't have to subscribe to what the world tells you that you should be grateful for, that you should strive for, or that you should have in order to be happy. Those are not the things that are important, and those are not necessarily the things that you remember. Those are not the things that are truly the pleasure moments. So they're very important. So yes, while I do look forward to it, we have the same goal, and we're going to high five each other when we accomplish that of having reached all the states. But now, you know, I can be excited really about being able to walk in my backyard and just feel the earth, you know, just feel the earth. Or if I just want to go and sit in the backyard and just have the sun on me, what a blessing it is to be able to do that. You know, to have a backyard to sit in, to be able to walk out there to do it, you know, all of those things. So you can really focus on those things that are really important, be grateful for those things that create those pleasure moments, and get outside of your head and outside of what society tells you that is important and that you have to be grateful for. So it's very important. They're very important. And I believe that that's what Allah desires for us, is to, you know, to be happy, but we can be happy when we're grateful for what He has blessed us with. And your point about being able to, you know, have your mom there all the time, you know, I can certainly relate to that, because I can think of the pleasure moments, you know, now that I had, you know, with my mother, and being able to just call her up and enjoy and smile and actually just look in the mirror and see her when I look at myself, you know, just really have tons of pleasure moments of this beautiful soul that Allah blessed me with. So they're very important.
Beautiful. All praises to Allah, and people are bear witnessing. Thank you all who showing love. Thank you, brother or Sister Antoinette X Stewart. Absolutely. Brother David Johnson Muhammad says happiness can be equated to having this, and when a person can have, he can practice being who he really is. Beautiful, excellent. Everybody's dropping gems and teaching. Sister Rachel, Assalamu alaikum family, walaikum salam. Muhammad Muslim 52. All right, shout out to Muhammad 52 as well. Thank you all very much for watching. I wanted to man, you just everything is so powerful, but we come to you, Sister Catina, when you just Sister Student Captain Maalikah just said the how important having pleasure moments is, it just made me smile because I'm like, what we are grateful for. There's a meme on social media. I know everybody's just going in on social media, but where it's a man's apartment and it said, or man's room, an apartment or house, and it was like what heaven looks like for a man if he was for a single man basically, and it's just a big TV on the floor, a video game, and it was like an air mattress, right? And everybody was like, if people was all the women were in the comments like, how could you all think this is what happiness is? And all the men, it was just like, I mean, I don't really need too much. You know what I'm saying? I'm grateful for Wi-Fi. I'm grateful to be able to just, you know what I'm saying? I'm grateful to just be able to play a game. After when I get off work, I'm chilling, you know. So women, you know, as they say, my sisters get mad when I always do my comedy routines, but women be shopping, you know what I'm saying? Like everything, like, you know, women just be, like, you went to the mall just to get from Target, you spent $20 and you're so excited. I'm happy I spent my $20 at Target. It makes me happy. So I'm happy for, you know, all those gratitude, shout out to gratitude. All right, Sister Catina, can you close us out, please, ma'am, with letting us know why pleasure moments are important for us?
Sure. I have two things, if that's all right with you, Brother Josh. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said in the lecture, "Put on the new man," after he was presenting Dianetics to everyone, and he went bit by bit and piece by piece with what went into his thinking about giving us that tool and that technology. And at a certain point, our minister, he just said, I just want the believers to be happy. Like he gave this full-on lecture like only he can. And it was so full of love and energy, and it was so powerful. And he just said, I just want the believers to be happy. Happiness is something, Brother Josh, that I have noticed that we really don't feel like we can be happy. It's something we really don't feel like we can have. It's always just outside our reach. And if somebody among us start to get happy, we'll jump on them. You know, what you so happy about, right? We got to explain why we happy. You know what I mean? And it better be a good reason, right? Now we're sure that we can be upset. We're sure that we can be angry. We're sure that we can be sad or depressed. We're sure we can have anxiety. We are not sure that we can have happiness. It evades us, it eludes us, but it is a key point to our survival. Now, with that, I'm going to tie that into why I started Yasina Al-Nur in the first place. And it was because of a lecture from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And he said that our problem as a people is not a problem of drugs or sex or alcohol or overeating, obesity. He said those are symptoms of the problem. He said our problem is a problem of relationships that don't bring us pleasure.
Wow.
We are supposed to be able to harness, to give and receive pleasure in our relationships. And so you notice when we talk now, even when we're talking about marriages, Sister Latonia or Latonia, one of them, said that, you know, marriage is one half of faith. And it is, but we don't even think we can really be happy in our marriages. So we going in and looking out for everything except for looking to put in happiness, put in love. Are we looking out for adultery? We looking out for, you know, somebody lying, somebody stealing, somebody ain't praying, right? But we're not looking, and we need to look out for those things. Those are relevant things, but we're not looking at what it takes to put into the thing in order for us to be in a state of condition with our marriages and our relationships, that when the rough time comes, we got something to ride on to help us to get through it. We got enough pleasure moments that we can reach back to and say, yeah, boy, I know money didn't got tight, but remember that time we had went up, boy, we all went to Savings Day, we had did this and that, and such and so and so. See, we ain't got enough remember them times.
Right.
See, back in the day, that's pretty much all you had was remember that time, you know. And so now we got to learn how to, Brother Josh, build some more of those remember that time or pleasure moments, so that we can be able to, you know, withstand the darkness that comes up in the marriages and in our relationships with our children, with our parents, and any other relationships that we have. So it is key and it's crucial to again be able to balance the mind, but help us to stay and stand and be well in our relationships. Because remember, closing my point, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said in the Swan song, he said, we are going to make it. We just have to hold on to Allah and hold on to one another. And how much of each other can we hold on to if we don't build some kind of pleasure with
That's
one
right.
another?
Go ahead and teach, Sister Catina.
I
You teach
know.
it. Praise be to Allah. Everyone is going off in the comments saying that's right, sisters. Sister Lavette R. Muhammad says, loving these gems you all are dropping. Sister Cynthia Muhammad says, teach. Thank you, everyone. I know I can't wait to upload this to YouTube tonight. Sister Auntie Iris says, being able to wake up and say all praise to Allah is her pleasure moment for starters. Beautiful. Thank you all very much. This has been an honor on this great Friday evening. Praise be to Allah. I hope we brought joy to the guests as well and all of the panelists. I want to thank Sister Latonia, Sister Terri, Sister Student Captain Maalikah, and Sister Catina. All of you all, may Allah continue to bless you and your families. I look forward to, inshallah, seeing you all in person very soon. If not, hopefully Savior's Day, but before Savior's Day at some event somewhere, we'll all see each other again, inshallah. And man, I look forward to having the uplifting spirit. Thank you very much. Sisters, is there any way that the sisters, do y'all mind if sisters and women who are watching this can reach out to you all on social media? Is that possible?
Sure.
Absolutely. Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Because people get the spirit and they like, I want to reach out and ask questions, you know. So sisters, by all means, thank you all very much. And Sister Iris says, thank you, love you, nephew, love you more, Sister Iris. And Sister Student Captain Maalikah, can you please get on Auntie Iris about coming on the People's Podcast so we can make that happen? We can get her.
I gotta make that happen. That's exactly what I do.
We gotta get her history. We gotta get that history locked in.
Yes,
so
we have to make that happen.
Thank you all. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off of the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum, family.
Thank you.
Wa alaikum salam.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you all watching, and thank all the family members for taking, sharing y'all mothers and wives with us. Thank you very much.